Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya. Today is Friday, September 3rd, 2021. And my name is Nilakantan. I am a resident of Las Vegas since 1997. First, I sincerely thank Sri Paresh Joshi ji for asking me to give a pravachanam before the temple devotees. The topic that I have chosen for my speech today is Paramatma or God. I felt this is an appropriate topic to start my pravachanam, the first pravachanam. Whenever possible, I prefer to combine a brief explanation of each item that I have selected or title that I have selected. That will follow later. And later, after my explanation, I will be reading written script. This is the format I'm going to be following today. The reason being, I personally feel, being in my very advanced age, there is a tendency for me to forget certain important things, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm just first going to identify briefly whatever I can. I will just talk about it, and then later on I will read the script. Okay, I'll try to follow this format. This way, I believe I'm not going to miss anything. Another thing I want to say is, I will try to do the pravachanam at a slow pace and keep it as simple as possible. Now, as I said, I'm in an advanced age. The Las Vegas temple devotees, I believe most of you are much younger than me. So I consider all you devotees as my brothers, my sisters, my children, as well as my grandchildren. Now, two things for success of any project in life. The two things are, one is we have to learn about a new subject. Secondly, having learned it, we have to practice that in our life. No matter what you do, whether it is a medical profession, engineering profession, or temple organization, anything job related to temple, you name it, in every case, you have to do that. And the most important thing that I am identifying here is even in the process of getting closer to Paramatma, we have to do the same thing. Therefore, I strongly recommend that please pay attention to several important things that I will tell you today. To pursue any project, like I said, we have to learn and practice. So we remember these things. Now, Paramatma getting closer is the same way. Compared to our respectful priests, Brijesh ji and Vishnu ji, my spiritual knowledge is minuscule, very small. I will share with you whatever little I know. Also, please realize that our Hinduism is like an ocean, and sometimes there are controversial interpretations possible for a particular subject by different scholars. Therefore, please pardon me if I have some controversies or mistakes that you may notice in my speech. Having said all this, now I am ready to start my speech. Hinduism tradition is to do some initial prayers before we start anything. Following that same tradition, I am going to be doing certain important prayers that I would like you to remember all your life. Very important. The first prayer is for Lord Ganesha. Now, let me tell you one thing. I am speaking all these things to the most minimum knowledgeable person about spirituality. Please don't mistake me. A person who already knows all these things, for him, this may be sounding like I'm just talking like to a kindergarten guy or something like that. It's not so. The idea is I want a person who doesn't know anything to understand the subject. That is the whole idea behind it. So with that in mind, I will start the initial prayers. First prayer is for Lord Ganesha. Everybody can do the same thing as I pray. You can repeat after me. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. What Ganesha does, Lord Ganesha does, is he removes the obstacles that might come in the project that you are engaged with. So I am requesting Lord Ganesha to remove any possible obstruction that might come for today's karma and bring success to this project. Okay, now we have got a set of small prayers. Each and every one is very important. So please focus on it. And as I say it, I will give some small comments. You just go after that. Whatever I say, try to practice that or try to follow that. Number one is Matrudevo Bhava. Respect your mother as God. Please think about your mother and pay her respect. Pitrudevo Bhava. Respect your father as God. I'm doing about my father and you do about your father. The same thing. Pay your respect. Acharya Devo Bhava. Respect your guru or your teacher as God. Atithi Devo Bhava. Respect your guest as God. Now, guest here literally means not somebody who tells you that he is coming already. No, a surprise guest who just walks in. He is the Atithi. You have to treat him with great respect and feed him properly. Next, I am going to chant a couple of shlokas from Taittiriya Upanishad. Satyam vada. Always speak the truth. Now, what I am saying now is literally applies for you to practice this all your life. Dharmam chara. Live a moral life. It is very important that we are conscious of our everyday karma that we are doing and making sure that it is morally acceptable. These two things that I said, one is Satyam Pada and another is Dharmam Chara. These two are very important things to be followed in life. Now I am going to chant a small sloka. I will chant the sloka and then I will tell the meaning. Om Bhadram Karnebi Shrinayama Devaha. With our ears, may we hear what is good. Bhadram Pashye Machabir Yajatraha. May our eyes see beautiful things, auspicious and noble. Tirai Rangais Pagam Sattanubihi. May we have good body parts, strong and sturdy, and make sure that we will be able to serve others with this healthy body. Vyashema Devakitam Yadayuhu. May we live the full life that is allocated to by Paramatma. Tirai Rangai Pagam Sattanubihi. Pattin Ayindro Vridra Shrabaha. May Indra with great glory bestow well-being on us. Swastina Pusha Vishwa Vedaha. These are all heavenly bodies, Indra and Pusha and all that. May Pusha, all-knowing, bestow well-being on us. Swastinastar Sharyo Arishtanebihi. May Sakshya, who is a circle of protection, bestow well-being on us. Swastino Brihaspatir Dadatu. May Brihaspati bestow well-being on us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now, it is, I don't know whether you are aware of it, but most of every single sloka, it ends with this 3 times chanting of Om Shanti, Om Shanti, and Shanti. The idea behind this is the first Shanti protect you from personal sickness that could cause any disturbance for you. The second Shanti protect you from obstruction that might come from another person. The third Shanti protects you from obstruction that might come from the nature, like thunder, lightning, rain, etc. So this is also a tradition to do Shanti 3 times. Having said the initial prayers, I will now start with our subject matter. The subject matter for today is Paramatma, or God. Now, I'm going to chant a small sloka on Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudeva. The most important thing to know about Hinduism is Hinduism has only one God, and he is Vasudeva. There is a thing that I would like to mention here. If people are knowledgeable about Mahabharata, there is a Vasudeva that comes there. And here, this is Vasudeva. Vasudeva is V-double-A, S-U-D-E-V-A, Vasudeva. Vasudeva really is Lord Krishna. However, Vasudeva comes, like when Krishna is born to Vasudeva, he is Devaki's husband in Mahabharata. So I just want you to be not confusing with this. So remember, what we are talking here about is Vasudeva. He is Lord Krishna. Now, we are going to talk from now onwards everything about Paramatma. That is the subject matter of today. You will be astonished. Maybe you may know a lot of things about God in general, but I've got a few other things that will tell you, that will surprise you also, and you keep those things in mind also. First, Vasudeva is one God, but he takes multiple forms. He has no beginning or no end. He is bigger than the biggest. The truth, this truth about how big he is covered in the very popular suktam in Hinduism called Purusha Sukta. Sukta, I would say, Purusha Sukta. He is so big, he absorbs the whole universe during the pralaya, that is yet to come at the end of the Kali Yuga, about 425,000 plus years from today. He is also smaller than the smallest. This truth is covered in the Narayana Sukta. He is omniscient, knows everything, omnipotent, all-powerful, and omnipresent, present everywhere. He is softer than the softest and harder than the hardest. He resides inside our heart. He also resides in the heart of 8.4 million species that Paramatma has created in this universe. Our intellect is finite. That means it's very limited. And so we do not even have the capacity to comprehend him. Paramatma is infinite with infinite knowledge. Having said that, now I will go to subjects that are related to Paramatma, various things, and there will be like 10, 20 items. For each item, I'll just try to explain a little bit, and then I will read it as is from my prepared script. That way, I want to make sure I don't miss anything. In fact, I have not done that for the Vasudeva, so I am going to do that reading from the script. The most important thing to know about Hinduism is Hinduism has only one God. He is Vasudeva. Vasudeva is Krishna, and Vasudeva with double A. However, he takes multiple forms. He has no beginning or end. He is bigger than the biggest. This truth is covered in the Purusha Sukta. He is so big, he absorbs the whole universe during the Mahapralaya. That is yet to come at the end of Kali Yuga, about 425,000 plus years from now. He is also smaller than the smallest. This truth is covered in the Narayana Sukta. He is omniscient, knows everything, omnipotent, all-powerful, and omnipresent, present everywhere. He is softer than the softest, and he is harder than the hardest. He resides inside our heart. He also resides in the heart of 8.4 million species created by him. Our intellect is finite, limited, and so we do not even have the capacity to comprehend him. Paramatma is infinite with infinite knowledge. Now, other gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. There are three gods. Now, in the creation, Brahma is the creator of this world. Vishnu is the protector of the world that is created by Brahma. And Shiva comes in the end to destroy the whole universe when the Kali Yuga ends. So, having said that, let me read from my script. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are all different forms of Vasudeva. Vishnu created Brahma and Brahma created Shiva. Also, Brahma is the creator of the world and the 8.4 million species that lives here. The creations were started using, this is very important, how the creations were done by Brahma. He used the natural elements of Akasha, which is space, Vayu, which is air, Agni or fire, Apu or water, and Prithvi or earth. Vishnu is the protector of these creations, and Shiva is the destroyer of this universe that will happen in the far future. Next item is Vedas. Vedas are the primary scriptures of Hinduism. Vedas are really not written by any human, but it is the breathing of the air of Paramatma. And those breathing of air were interpreted by Maharishis to form the complete set of Vedas. And the Vedas are the law for our Hindu people. So let me go and read from the written script. Vedas are the primary scriptures of Hinduism and are the breathings of air of Paramatma. These breathings were interpreted by the Maharishis. Vedas are the eternal laws. They are called Shruti. Shruti because they are heard. All other scriptures of Hinduism are not primary scriptures. Please note this. Only Vedas are the primary scriptures. All other scriptures of Hinduism are not primary scriptures. Particularly, you have to know that includes Bhagavad Gita, because everybody knows Bhagavad Gita. So I am mentioning that in particular. Vedas of Hinduism are equivalent to the Bible of Christianity or the Quran of the Muslim people. Now, having said about Vedas, what are the types of Vedas? There are 4 Vedas. One is Rig Veda, next is Yajur Veda, next is Samaveda, and the final one is Atharvana Veda. Now, I will read from my script all the details about this. There are 4 Vedas, the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Samaveda, and Atharvana Veda. Each Veda has its own Mahavakya. What are Mahavakyas? Mahavakyas are short sentences with profound spiritual significance. I request, please note this, I request every person listening to this pravachanam to know or attempt to find out name of the Veda that your family belongs to. Then ask your elders and find out. Then please try to memorize the Mahavakya of your family's Veda. Now, the reason why I am saying that, when you do this chanting of this Veda every day with absolute faith, you are getting closer to Paramatma in the long run. Now, I will read from the script the details. There are 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharvana Veda. Each Veda has its own Mahavakya. Mahavakyas are short sentences with profound spiritual significance. I request every person listening to this pravachan to know or attempt to find out name of the Veda that your family belongs to. Then please try to memorize this short Mahavakya of your family's Veda. Consistent daily chanting of your family's Mahavakya with absolute faith will take you closer to Paramatma. Now, I am going to tell one by one the Mahavakya of each Veda. Rig Veda, Prajnanam Brahma. What is the meaning of this? It means consciousness is Brahman. See, the very fact that you are alive, it is because God is inside you. The moment God leaves, you lose your consciousness and you lose your life. So, Rig Veda says, Prajnanam Brahma, consciousness is Brahman. Next is Yajurveda, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Next is Samaveda, Tattvam Asi. Thou art that. Or I would say more clearly, you are Brahman. And finally, Atharvana Veda, I am Atma Brahma. This self or Jivatma is Brahman. Now, essentially, here I want to tell you something. All these four Vedas convey the same meaning. In essence, it tries to convey to you, even though you are thinking that you are a human, in reality, you are God. Now, you may not believe this, what I am saying, but if you practice this over and over and over again every day with faith, a time will come, this will contribute, this is one of the contributing factors to make you get closer to God. Okay, now about Paramatma. Paramatma actually is believed to exist in two forms. One is a form where we worship him with idols. Just like in our temple, we have the idol of Shiva, Ganesha, Venkateswara, etc. Lord Krishna, etc. Now, this is called Saguna Brahman. Then there is another set of people which are very small in number that believe that God has no form. This means he is simply a bright light for illumination. Now, having said this, I'm going to read from the script that will make it more clear for you. Paramatma as Saguna Brahman. There are people believing in two philosophies or two forms of the same Paramatma. Advaita means not two, but only one. The first one is the Saguna Brahman. Based on the Visishtadvaita philosophy of Sri Ramanuja, Paramatma is believed to be one God only, but with attributes. Attribute means with features, physical body and all that. Meaning, God has a physical form. Most people believe in this form for the worship of God. People do prayers done to idols considered as gods, called idol worship. Next is Paramatma as Nirguna Brahman. The second one, this one, is the Nirguna Brahman. Based on the Advaita philosophy of Sri Adi Shankara, Paramatma is believed to be again one God only, but without any attributes, meaning God has no physical form. Paramatma is considered to be just an illumination or light, Nirguna Brahman. Next, Paramatma is not far away, as people think. He is right inside you and inside me, and inside all the 8.4 million species that Paramatma has created for this universe. The script says Paramatma is not far away from us, as many people think. He is right inside of us, in our heart. The truth is, you and I can become Paramatma if we satisfy his requirements. Most people may think we know him because we pray every day, but there is a lot more to it to know him. He wants us to know him, in fact. That is what he desires. Our ignorance, that is the next one. Now, this is something that I am going to say that is very, very important. The desire of everybody is to become God by experiencing first Brahmajnana, which I will talk about later, and become God. And what is happening here is you, your Jivatma. In the middle, there is a screen separating you. Just like in the temple, we have a big screen. Similarly, a thin screen is there. And in the other side is Paramatma. And what is the thin screen? The thin screen is our ignorance of God. Now, once this ignorance is removed, you can become God, I can become God. This may happen in just one life, or it may take several lives to remove your ignorance and get the knowledge. But now let me read more clearly with some example for you to understand this very important concept. Our ignorance. What I am going to say now is a fact. There is only a very thin screen between us, Jivatma, and him, Paramatma. The screen is the screen of ignorance. Once we manage to remove the screen, the Jivatma will merge with Paramatma and we can become God. For this screen of ignorance to be removed, it may just need only one lifetime, or it may take many lifetimes of our efforts. I will give you the most common example that is used by all scholars in India pertaining to our ignorance of God. In the insufficient light, a rope is misunderstood to be a snake due to our ignorance or lack of knowledge. When the light appears, the same rope is now understood to be a rope and not confused to be a snake anymore due to our knowledge. In the similar manner, when there is ignorance, we do not recognize Paramatma. When the ignorance is cleared through knowledge, we experience Paramatma. When there is ignorance, Jivatma and Paramatma are different. But when there is knowledge, Jivatma becomes one with the Paramatma. Now, obviously, having talked about the ignorance, now I am going to talk about the knowledge. How to get this knowledge? We need to get rid of our Arishad Vargas. What are Arishad Vargas? This is a set of personalities that we have brought with us from many, many births in the past. They are Kama, which is material desire, Krodha, which is anger, Mada, ego, Matsarya, jealousy, Lobha, miserliness, and the worst of it, Moha, sexual desire. Now, let me read from the script to make it better, more clear. How to get this knowledge to know about Paramatma? We need to get rid of our Arishad Vargas. Kama, material desires, Krodha, anger, Mada, ego, Matsarya, jealousy, Lobha, miserliness, Moha, sexual desires. All these are in our personalities from this life and from our past lives. We also need to get rid of other vasanas, like, complaining about people, misunderstanding, lack of patience, etc., etc. Also carried over personalities from our past lives. The next item is Mandukya Upanishad. What is a Mandukya Upanishad? Mandukya means, in Sanskrit, Mandukya means frog. Now, this is very interesting. I came to know about this only recently, and I wanted to share my knowledge with you. The Mandukya Upanishad says that our life is human life is more or less like frog. We have in our human life, I'm not talking about extraordinary person. I'm talking about normal, common, worldly person. Has got 3 stages of life. One is waking stage, another is sleeping stage in the dream, and then the third one is deep sleep stage. That means that's what you do normally, right? You go to bed, you sleep. In the first 1 or 2 hours, you get dreams. Or before you wake up, also there is a possibility sometimes in the early morning, you get a dream. In the middle, you got like 5-6 hours, you have a deep sleep, good sleep. Then you say next morning that you slept very well. Now, let me clarify it better for you. Read and understand Mandukya Upanishad to understand how our dhyana on Om will get us close to Paramatma. In this Upanishad, our human life is compared to that of Mandukya in Sanskrit, or frog. The frog jumps from place to place. Similarly, we jump from the waking stage to the dream stage, and the dream stage to the sleep stage, back again to waking stage. So more or less similar to frog. Our human life has the waking stage, the dream stage, the sleep stage, and these three stages are applicable to a common man. We go back and forth in these 3 stages. This is what happens for a normal person. However, once we acquire knowledge of the Paramatma, we go into a 4th stage called Samadhi. Samadhi means deep sleep stage. That is where you really come to know God. Okay, next item. Our world is a Maya or illusion. Our worldly life every day, we think everything looks real. And we take it seriously and live this life. But once you go deeper and deeper into spirituality, you will start realizing that this world is a Maya or illusion. Let me read this. Another important thing that we should know and practice in our everyday life should be based on our strong faith on this truth. Paramatma or Brahman is real, and the world is a Maya and unreal or false. The truth is, our everyday life is a Maya. We are all caught in this unknown trap of God called Maya, illusion, by being attracted to the worldly things, the family, the money, the house, the cars, etc., etc. Therefore, what we need to start to practice in our life on an ongoing basis is simple living, avoiding too much of luxuries of houses and cars and too much attachment to family, etc., and slowly practice to live spiritual life, love all of the 8.4 million species of Paramatma's creations without any discrimination, and pray every day for the welfare of mankind. Loka samastha sukhino bhavantu. Next, Bhaja Govindam. Adi Sankara says, go after Govinda. He is literally calling humans as fools. Here it is. Adi Sankara asserts in Bhaja Govindam, Shaka 1. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Meaning, seek Govind, O fool. Seeking Govinda is the ultimate purpose of our life on earth. In another verse, Adi Sankara has emphasized neither by works nor by progeny, by bringing forth children, nor by riches, but by renunciation alone, one can attain immortality or moksha. There is a very famous Sanskrit sloka. Na karmana, na prajaya, na tyage, naike, amritattvamanashu. That is what is talking. It is talking about the renunciation. Now, next item, how to understand Paramatma. I will just read this one. Let us look at some effort that will make us understand the true nature of Paramatma. Practice of Satya throughout life is of paramount importance. That this means our performance of everyday karmas by way of our karmendriyas should be the same as what manas or mind thinks. Satya, truth. As we read in one of the slokas in the beginning of the initial prayers, Satyam Vada. This is what it means. You have to speak the truth at all times. We should not fail in this practice. Also, when we need to wake up during the Brahma Muhurta, you have to wake up during the Brahma Muhurta between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. and perform Pratah Sandhya Vandana or other spiritual practice as applicable to you. Other practices will be like pranayama, breathing exercise, or do Veda Parayana, Veda chantings, perform pujas, all these performed with Shraddha and Bhakti. Go on a pilgrimage tour during your lifetime. All these efforts practiced over a long period of time will make us understand Paramatma. Brahmajnana is the next topic. This is my favorite topic. Brahmajnana means self-realization. In fact, I just want to tell you, later on I will show you. I have written a book on this subject, about 300 pages. But I'll briefly tell you what it is. Another very important karma to be practiced during our lifetime is the practice of Om Dhyana every day for some time. Mandukya Upanishad emphasizes that Om Dhyana practiced over a long period of time will lead to Brahmajnana, self-realization experience, or finding God inside you. This is possible in this life or in the near future births, if you make proper efforts. And Brahmajnana will give you moksha or no more rebirth. After death, the Jivatma will merge with Paramatma. Also, knowledge from Mandukya Upanishad. I suggest everyone to read and understand the Mandukya Upanishad. It is a small Upanishad consisting of only 12 slokas and teaches us the pathway to moksha. Next item is, there are 14 worlds created by Paramatma. There are 7 higher world is considered in Sanskrit. It's called as Loka. So I will address it as Loka. 7 lokas above earth, our earth, including the earth. And they are Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka or Brahmaloka. Similarly, there are 7 lokas below earth, excluding earth. Atala Loka, Vitala Loka, Sutala Loka, Rasatala Loka, Mahatala Loka, Talatala Loka, and Pathala Loka. Now, in the higher lokas above the earth, there are more and more enjoyments and spiritual bliss as compared to earth. Similarly, in the lower lokas below our earth, there are more and more sufferings. Next is Ashtadik Balakas. Paramatma has done a beautiful design by keeping some kind of, let's say, I don't know what you should say, like a security people throughout the universe. Paramatma established Indra, Vayu. I can go more deeper into, but I'm just going to briefly tell the names because of lack of time. I got only 15 minutes still before me. Paramatma has established Indra, Vayu, Varuna, Agni, Yama, Isana, Kubera, Nirrutti as the 8 Ashtadik Balakas for 8 directions. East, for example, north, east, then there is one northeast. Similarly, you got east, south, there is one southeast. Similarly, there is one in the west, southwest, and one in the northwest direction. They have the responsibility to safeguard all the creations of the Paramatma. Another important thing, satsangs. Please get together with spiritually oriented people and have satsangs at least one time a month. It will make you more disciplined and it will take you closer to Paramatma. This is recommended by Sri Adi Shankara. Okay, now comes a little difficult to understand subject because it's a lot of numbers here. But I will try to, I'm going to read it because of the short of time now. When did Paramatma start all these creations? It's very important. We will end our description of Paramatma by looking at one last thing that is very interesting and learn the greatness of Paramatma. How long back God's creation started? 27 kalpas back. Now be ready to go through a lot of numbers. I'll try to go slowly, but you need to have a little knowledge of numbers to understand this. Now, as I said, it was started before 27 kalpas, and we are now living in the 28th kalpa. The one kalpa means 1,000 Mahayugas or Chatur Yugas. Chatur means 4, because there are 4 yugas. One Chatur Yuga has 4 yugas. Satya Yuga, 1,728,000 years. And in this Yuga, 100% truth prevailed during this period. Next is Treta Yuga, 1,296,000 years, where 75% truth prevailed. And in this Yuga, Sri Rama ruled, and he came in the form of a human, and he did not even know that he is God. Third is Dwapara Yuga. This is the number of years is 864,000 years, and only 50% truth prevailed in this period. Sri Krishna came down to earth during this period, declaring that he is God. Two important things happened during this Dwapara Yuga. One is the birth of Bhagavad Gita, consisting of like 8,700 plus slokas that he was advising Arjuna. The other one is the birth of Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra. That was done in the presence of Lord Krishna. Finally, Kali Yuga, 432,000 years, and only 25% truth is prevailing, rather I should say, because we are now living in the Kali Yuga. During this period, we are now living in Kali Yuga approximately 5,200 plus years after Lord Krishna left for Vaikuntha. After he left Bhuloka. Toward the end of Kali Yuga, the world will deteriorate to an unimaginable extent. Then the Kali Purusha, Lord Kalki, will emerge to restore the world to normalcy. Now comes the math. One Chatur Yuga equal to 4 yugas. When you add the 4 numbers that I told you before, it comes to 4,320,000 years for one Chatur Yuga. Now, we can calculate how much time has passed since the Paramatma's creation started for the first time. One kalpa is equal to 1,000 Chaturyugas multiplied by 4,320,000 years per Chaturyuga, equal to astronomical number 432000000, equal to 4.32 billion years per kalpa. Now, there are 27 kalpas that we have passed already. So that works out to 116.64 billion human years. To this, we have to add another 1.97 billion years that we have passed in this current 28th kalpa or Sveta Varaha kalpa. I got this number from Google, this 1.97 billion years. So as of today, 118.61 billion years have passed since Paramatma created this universe. Now, what happened before that? Before these 28 kalpas, Paramatma Vasudeva existed alone, all by himself in dark space. All these descriptions of the Paramatma's capacity are just a few things that I have quoted here that prove the greatness of Paramatma Vasudeva. Now I'm going to go a little bit faster because of shortage of time. Commonly asked questions and answers about Paramatma or God. Who is the Supreme God? The Supreme God is Vasudeva. He is beginningless and endless. Where is the location of Paramatma inside our body? Inside our body, Paramatma is a silent spectator watching us perform our everyday karmas, good and bad. In fact, I just remember when you chant the Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra, sloka number 55, Paramatma is the Sakshi. Sakshi is the proof. He is there, but he is a silent spectator. He doesn't talk. He doesn't tell you. When you do bad things, he won't tell you. When you do good things, he won't tell you. He's just watching everything you do every day. Why did Paramatma make all these creations of this world and all of us living and all that? Why he did that? The best answer often said is, this is close. Okay. The best answer often said is, this is Leela Kaivalya or play. How did Paramatma create this world? He created this world using the Panchabhutas or the 5 elements, Akasha, space, Vayu, air, Agni, fire, Appu, water, and Prithvi, earth. What is Om? Om represents the Trimurtis, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the protector, and Shiva is the destroyer. Now, I am going to tell you certain things that are like, I always try to do this, lessons to learn. Having said all these things, what is the lesson that we have to take from here to our home and start our life, and what we practice in our life? They are not in proper specific order, but I will go through very fast. There is only one God, and he assumes many forms. If we pray to God with total devotion, our prayers will be answered. We must always have absolute faith in God, that God exists and he will protect us at all times. God resides inside of us and watches us quietly, the karmas we do every day and throughout our life. This is the truth. There is only a thin screen between you, Jivatma, and God, Paramatma. This screen is the screen of ignorance of God. After you understand him to his satisfaction, you will merge with God. When we get to experience God inside us, it is known as Brahma-jnana. That happens when we are alive. After death, the person will get moksha, either right away or at least guaranteed of moksha in the near future births. Having faith in our Jivatma, our individual soul inside, as Aham Brahmasmi, I am God, on a continuous basis all our life, and removing our vasanas completely will make us God someday for sure. The only way to get closer to Paramatma is only when we are alive. This is very important. After death, the Jivatma cannot experience Brahmajnana, and it has to wait until next human life starts for the Jivatma. Therefore, it is very, very important that we use our human life very wisely. Based on the karmas we do in this life, the next birth may or may not be a human birth. That is the reason why we must make all possible efforts in this life itself to experience Brahmajnana that will guarantee the moksha. Also, human life is the only highest form of life, and it is only through human life moksha can be achieved. Paramatma is only a silent witness inside our heart from our birth until death. He gives us the total freedom to live our life the way we choose to live. So how best we live our life is up to us only. Lord Brahma, this is very interesting and important. Lord Brahma decides our age as soon as we are born. However, it is up to us to live our life wisely. But I have learned from several scholars in India that if we live our life to Paramatma's satisfaction, he will extend our life. This is the truth. Do not abuse this body given to us by God, because your body is a temple where God lives inside this temple, and he is watching silently all the karmas we perform every day. Therefore, your health is important. Take care of your body carefully. We need to offer prayers to Paramatma with Shraddha until the end of our life and work towards the Brahmajnana in this life itself. Our Shastras recommend to us to wake up during the Brahma Muhurta, 4 a.m. and to 6 a.m. The atmosphere is totally serene or undisturbed and without human pollution during this time period. So do not fail to get up early and utilize this time to your full advantage. It is absolutely essential to clear the bowels as soon as you wake up. Do not rush to drink your tea or coffee. Instead, take bath as soon as you brush your teeth. During the bath, chant Agamarshana Sukta. You may download it from Google, memorize the Sukta. That is almost 2 pages long, but you will get used to it by chanting it every day. By chanting this mantra, Varuna Bhagavan, the rain god, will wash away your sins of the previous day. Perform Sandhya Vandana, perform Om Dhyana, Pranayama, etc., whatever is applicable to you before the end of Brahma Muhurta or 6 a.m. I recommend you chant Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra and also some selected Veda Parayanas of your choice every day that will help you to take you to closer to Paramatma. Your Patni is the Mahalakshmi of your family. Patni is your wife. Your wife is the Mahalakshmi of your family. If you treat her with respect and keep her happy at all times, prosperity will